Welcome to an NCAA basketball focus investigation.
Last year, the UVA men's basketball team was a disappointment. We finished with a record of 21-14 and placed 6th in the ACC.
After a very long and disappointing season, we missed the NCAA tournament and were forced to play the NIT tournament, or the shameful, not invited tournament, as many people refer to it.
And to make matters worse, we lost. We didn't just lose, in fact. We lost in dramatic fashion on our own home court against St. Bonaventure.
Last year was the first year since 2013 that UVA missed the NCAA tournament. Over nearly the past decade, UVA has been a force in college basketball. In 2019, the basketball team went on an electric run in the tournament, narrowly winning many close matchups to ultimately come out on top as champions.
As CS students, it is our duty to use our superpowers for good and help bring UVA basketball back to its glory days.
Now, because we're all below 6 feet, we can't physically help. However, maybe we can find a solution through machine learning.
So we took our good intentions to Kaggle and searched for a relevant dataset. We found a dataset containing advanced statistics on NCAA Division I basketball players from 2009 to 2022. The dataset contained over 46,000 rows and about 60 features, where each row described a player's stats over the course of the season. Beyond your basic stats like rebounds per game and minutes per game, the dataset also included advanced metrics such as box plus minus and adjusted defensive rating. One feature that stood out to us in particular was a player's position. The dataset gave a more in-depth description of a player's position than what you would ever see on an official roster. For example, instead of just listing point guard, the dataset provided their role within that position. Before applying any sort of model to our data, we had to do some pre-processing. We dropped all of the data on the years before 2013 because there was a lot of missing data in those years, and we also dropped irrelevant features as well. A pipeline was also implemented to standardize pre-processing the numerical and categorical data.
We then tried to get initial insights into our dataset and find a natural grouping for the players. We believed the k-means algorithm would be best for that. Based on the elbow in our plots, 5 clusters were the best fit for our data. Through analyzing the data in each cluster, we identified what each cluster represented. We found that there were a few statistics in particular that strongly influenced the clusters that formed. Minutes per game separated the players who play a lot from the players who don't see the court as much. In addition, stats that had a big disparity between positions, such as blocks for forwards and assists for guards, had a big impact. There was one cluster in particular that stood out to us. This cluster contained players who got playing time, but barely contributed to the stat sheet. They were just out there, getting cardio.
Although the k-means algorithm gave us good insights, we can't really help the UVA basketball team with this information, so we turned back to our dataset. We thought that the position feature of the dataset was particularly insightful, and this inspired us to ask the next question: are UVA players playing in the right positions? We sought to build a model that classifies what position was best suited for a player given their season stats. Assuming the best players are playing in their ideal position, we wanted to train our model on the good players and filter out the bad players. In order to accomplish this, we decided to use box plus minus, which is generally a good measure of a player's contribution to a team's success. Using BPM, we extracted the 75th percentile of players in each position in our dataset.
After applying this to our dataset, we were left with about 10,000 rows and 5,000 unique players, enough data to train our model. We thought that an SVM could be the best classifier for our situation. However, we were unsure about whether just a linear SVM would be sufficient or if a kernelized SVM would perform better. We experimented with linear, polynomial, and Gaussian RVF SVMs. For our tests, we found that a polynomial kernel with a degree of 4 reached the highest accuracy. But we wouldn't be doing the team justice if we only tried one technique, so we also implemented a random forest classifier. Although we were never able to achieve an accuracy quite as high as our polynomial SVM, we came very close.
To tune the hyperparameters of both models, many iterations of random search CV were performed. The best F1 score we produced with our polynomial SVM was 91%, while the best F1 score we produced with our random forest classifier was 88%. Our ultimate goal with these models was to input the current UVA players and see if the models determined they should be playing different positions. Before training our models, we removed current UVA players from the data to remove any bias. Although our random forest classifier found that a few more players should be playing in different positions than our SVM, both models agreed on two important players in particular. Could Tony Bennett be doing something wrong? First man up, Jaden Gardner, a big man who might be spending too much time on the wing. Our model concluded he should be playing power forward/center, but he currently plays wing forward. From breaking down the tape, even my grandma could see that Jaden Gardner is a force in the post. His physical play style and tenacious inside finishing causes him to dominate defenders in the paint. He also excels at rebounding and interior defense, two skills that are underutilized when he plays on the perimeter.
The second out-of-position player was Ben Vonderplas, the only player in the ACC with a mustache, I might add. He's a grad transfer from Ohio who plays wing forward but has the skill set of a wing guard. Interestingly enough, both of these players are classified as wing forwards. However, it doesn't take a polynomial SVM to realize they play nothing alike. Vonderplas is a dynamic scoring guard and can tremendously help the Hoos if he has the ball in his hands more.
All in all, the UVA basketball team is off to a very hot start. And when Tony Bennett sees this video, place your bets, the championship is guaranteed. This has been a presentation by the Shallow Learners. Thanks for watching.